Welcome to The Author Next Door, where hosts Angela Haas and Cassie Newell chat about the wild world of writing and publishing. Join them for weekly episodes and special monthly guests. Pull up a chair. The conversation starts now.
Welcome to episode 25. I'm Cassie Newell. I'm here with my co-host, Angela Haas, and this month it's all about hot topics. But today we're celebrating a huge milestone because it's episode 25. This is so exciting. And I am like, wow, we're at episode 25, Angela.
How? I don't know.
How? Like,
When?
really? When? So I thought we talked about this, of course, like maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the things we experienced. So those of you that may think about doing a podcast in the future and all that
Slow your roll.
Yeah,
Let us talk to you.
all that stuff, let us like kind of commiserate and celebrate and some of our lessons learned. So I guess my first question is, what's something unexpected you learned from doing 25 episodes, Angela?
I think just the amount of work. And I knew it was going to be work, but even just getting everything set up, getting the right platform, I mean, you may have to go through some pain as you try something and realize that's not quite what we need or what we want. And, we needed photos for our website. And, there's just there's so much that goes into the prep that I think we did well, but I thought I knew, but I just had no idea. You had a podcast before, so you knew, but I think, and even though you told me, I had to experience the time everything took to just get everything scheduled and set up. So yeah, the work of even launching your first episode it's a lot. It's good work, but it's a lot. What do you think? You've done this before, so I don't know.
Well, for me, it's also finding the right partner. Too, if you're going to do this in a partnership type format, knowing your enter strategy as well as your exit strategy. And we did talk about that up front because I also don't want it to hurt our friendship because we're friends first and foremost. And I also learned too that I can get I'm high achiever, high strategic, high command, very task oriented. And there was a point in time that it put a strain on our relationship. And I had to have somebody say, "You're doing this with your friend. What are you doing?" And I was like, oh my God, I'm being a dumbass. Oh, excuse me. I don't want to be an asshole. And I was like, right, this is fun. This is joy. It is a lot of work, like you said, but you also have to make sure you're in the right frame of mind for what you're doing it and why you're doing it, the reasons for that. I'm very much obviously that mindset, why person, but I think it's really important that you know those things. And if you're going into a partnership with one or more persons on a podcast, really laying that out. I think we did a great job of that. Like we had brainstorm sessions and then more brainstorm sessions because we didn't even have a name yet. Like, then one day it came to you and I was like, that is brilliant. I love that. And then it was like, then it starts rolling, right? And you're still trying to like figure it out, but it's almost like writing, like we talked about in episode 23. Like you don't know what you don't know until you start doing it.
Yes.
So
I agree. And I think to some extent, again, you can do all this work on the front end. It's still not going to be perfect. Our episode 1 is drastically different from, I don't want to say drastically. That's probably not the right adjective. It's different than this episode just because you're not going to find your sync and your balance and the way that you ping off each other until you just start doing it. And though we had sort of the script we wanted to follow and things we wanted to say, now it just feels like
it flows.
It flows and it's coming easy. The first few we were like, okay, do you talk here? Am I? Even though we had it all together, we had it, we're looking at it. It's just like, but now I'm not I think I get too much in the weeds with my perfectionitis. And if I make a mistake or I say something that, just doesn't make sense, I'm like, I can edit it out, or I'm just talking like I talk to everyone. I'm not going to be so scripted that I feel rehearsed. And sometimes I go off on tangents, and sometimes a thought comes to me in the middle of my sentence, and then I have to, and I would get so caught up in like, you can't say that like that. You've got to be like this. And it's like, you know what? I'm just being myself. This is who I am. It's not perfect, but I love talking about all these different things with you, and bouncing things off and hearing your strategies and your ideas and then weighing in. And for me, that's what I love too, I love being with you, because if I was doing this by myself, I'd probably get bored with myself. And then,
no, you wouldn't.
I'm just feeling pressure. I'd have to have a guest all the time. And, it's nice because it takes some of the load of hosting everything all yourself. But
it's a lot of work, and we divided and conquered, and then switched and divided and conquered. And who knows, we could do it again, but it's helpful to have somebody in your corner, right? To do that.
Yeah. And I think I love our solos, but I also love our guests. And I think I like that we're mixing it up. So it's not one or the other.
You had to talk me into guests.
Yes, I did.
I was like, what? Maybe one a month. And you were like, no, we need more than that. And I was like, that's because it's a lot of work. People think that the guest podcasts aren't that. There are a lot of work because you're scheduling and all of the things. And then you also have the post-production of that with the guests too. And you need to make it worth their while. It's tough.
Yeah. And for those, if you're listening and you're like, well, I've been thinking about starting a podcast, what I think guests appreciate too is we send them questions ahead of time so that they have something to think about or plan to talk about. But I always say, although the conversation may go where it goes, because we're the author next door, we're just chatting.
Yeah.
Authors just like you, and we don't want our guests to feel like it's just so scripted, but I think they've appreciated getting questions ahead of time so that they can think about where we were going to go. But also after they're on, you send a follow-up email thanking them and saying, we really enjoyed having you. Thank you so much. And here's a little magic clip you could use for social media. Here's when the episode comes out. Oh, and what I forgot to mention is I created a guest intake form so we could capture their headshot, their bio, their links, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit of time, know?
Yeah.
But let's talk about guests for a second. Because if you're doing a podcast, also not every guest is going to be the same. Some are more dynamic than others. Some are great at interviews than others. And you kind of have to roll with that too, right? I mean, who's been your favorite guest? You can't really pick favorites, but they've all been so great.
No, I'm kidding. It's hard to choose, really, but I think for me, it was Jen DePaula. And I've been in her circle for a while. I've had coaching with Jen. Every time I'm with her, I learn something new, and it just sparks something that I've forgotten that I've known, and it kind of kicks up some things. And I've really been working on myself this year around my mindset for marketing, because usually when you talk to indie authors, it's marketing. So I have not done that this year.
It makes you do your eyes like this.
Yeah. So I've been like, yes, marketing. Sometimes it looks a little phony, but other times I'm really trying to make the most of it and manifesting it a little different and being a little bit more strategic and trying to find the joy in it as much as I can. So I found that really fun, but also Amy Van Zant's was a lot of fun because it was some new information. And again, things I had forgotten about. And I was like, I need to add that in. There's just so much information in this space in indie world that you can only do so many things at a time, that sometimes those nice reminders are great. So I really had a great time in those discussions, but I tell you, there's just so many fun guests that we've had that I knew nothing about until we got here, in some cases. And I don't think you knew Jen yet, but you don't know them and you're just rolling with it. And I don't know, some have been really surprising and fun. And I mean, Patrick O'Donnell, I was just like telling my dad, you have to watch this one. It's so great.
It was so fun. And even the audiobook narrators who had not met each other until they were on our podcast.
Isn't that something? Yeah. I know.
That was wild. Yeah.
That is wild. Who was your favorite guest? And yes, you have to
I cannot choose.
Yes, you have
Like
to.
a parent with children, they're all my favorite. I loved having Jeff Elkins on just because I learned a lot. I learn a lot every time I listen to him, but
Me
he
too.
just, even when I think like, I won't learn any more from Jeff, and then he comes out with some gold nugget, and I'm like, Jeff,
I know.
that was so amazing. You know,
He
I
is
want to
quite
knit that on a
masterful around
pillow.
dialogue
I know,
and writing in general. Yeah.
Just is.
He's very
And
good.
I love talking to Paula Judith Johnson because she's just
she is a treasure. I say that every time you say her name. She is a treasure.
Yeah. And through her, I met some other exciting guests that I think that will be coming on. So Paula Judith Johnson, if you're listening, you're our treasure forever.
You are.
So, and we've been blessed to just have really great guests.
And so exciting. They're so excited to be here. And
yes. And that was one thing I had to overcome, was thinking like, if I'm reaching out to guests, people going to come on our podcast? Like, who's going to come on?
Right?
I mean, you're
Angela
someone,
and Cassie. What?
I know one. Like, who? They're going to be like, who are you? But I think because we've done so much networking, you know, we've gone to conferences and we've been in groups, and there's some people who know who we are, but every guest that I've asked has said, absolutely, I would love to. And every time that happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart is growing 2 sizes this day, because
and now we're starting to get pitches to us, which is fabulous. And that gives us choices, right? So,
yes. And honestly, there's going to be people that may pitch that just maybe not a fit, although I don't think that's happened yet. So, but the cool thing is we've got guests scheduled, and I'm really looking forward to some of them that I'm hoping are coming on. But
yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
So how has this podcast changed your approach to your own writing and publishing journey? Like, has anything changed for you?
I mean, I think I just realized that it's just an extra corner of the world I'm in, and it's helpful because it actually has changed my journey in a way that I've learned a lot just being on the podcast and hosting, but just having each guest, I feel like I learned something from each guest that I can use. And those are moments that maybe other people wouldn't normally have, you know, so I feel really blessed because I've learned something from every guest.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I think the things I've learned is almost like the self-accusation of, I'm not saying that right. The self-awareness of things I know.
Actualization.
The self-actualization of things that I know being reaffirmed. Like, that's always nice in these discussions. And I like that about the author next door. Like, we can just chit chat and kind of, you know, my God, wide-eyed on some of the crazy stuff that happens in social versus like the everyday things or the industry, you know, slight moves and changes. And I think for me, the community of it is really helpful. For my own writing and publishing, I think I'm just feeling more and more secure in where I'm at and in my journey, and I'm feeling like I have more footing. And I think the challenge for me was all the marketing discussions we've had. And that's really changed for me. I think talking to Amy kicked it off. You know, it was like, it's just, you have to do it. And it's this. And if you think this way, then you're not going to get very far. And I was like, she is so right. You know? And I think sometimes you just need to hear those things. So us having those conversations and getting that firsthand direct response when we have questions for a guest has been gold, because it's just been gold for me. And I think it's one-upped me a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we've started this to help other authors who were in our shoes. I mean, we wanted to reach out to people in what I call the awkward sophomore year, even though we're moving. I mean, you're graduating, so you're going on to your master's.
It's a long school.
But
Don't think it's 4 years only.
yeah, no, there's probably 2 sophomore years. But as we're growing
Yeah.
and realizing, okay, that's who we were, but there's still, this is what I would tell my past self, the person that, the person who was looking for this resource. I want to be there for them because, again, indie authors have it kind of tough. And even though it's a joy, it's still a lot and it can take a lot out of you. Keep going, keep doing. And that's like the message we want every time. Like, you're not alone. We've been there.
Yeah.
You can do this. I think that's what all those authors sometimes need to hear that are feeling that way. And then there's also authors who are just killing it and they want to celebrate and know that they're being validated, that they're on the right track. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, that, I don't even know where I got off on that topic, but that's the topic.
I love it. I love it. But like we veer off on stuff too. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And I love our one-on-ones. These are like my favorites. Like, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy the guests because they're fun and it's different and you don't have to listen to us just gab all the time. But I do love our like little one-on-one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because who knows what's going to come out of her mouth. I know some of the table talks you were like, what did you just start laughing?
Who knows when the cat butt is going to make the appearance also.
Yeah, that too.
Missing the cat butt.
She's not here.
Yeah. I've been missing her.
Yeah. Anyway, so I do have one fun angle. I wanted to ask this question before we start to talk about what's next. But what would we tell ourselves back at episode 1? What would you tell me? And then I'll tell you what I would tell you.
Oh, gosh.
At episode 1. Now that we have this experience.
It'll work out. It'll be okay.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. No, I think we just didn't know what we didn't know. And we're both managers and driven people. And so sometimes you have to settle into the groove of like, okay, you're doing this, I'm doing this, and we're cool. But because we started on a platform that made some promises and didn't deliver, which you just don't know. You don't know until you try something. That's the thing. Sometimes you're going to be like, okay, I've done research on this and it still wasn't the right thing. That's okay. It's going to happen and you just roll with the punches and you'll get there and you'll be fine, Yeah. What would you tell me?
What would I tell you? Be patient with me because I am crazy busy and sometimes I get a little erratic with that because there's a lot of pressure around me and we're moving and you're moving and selling and I'm selling and the 50-hour work week career I have outside of this, and I don't dislike it, so I'm not leaving it.
Right.
I really like it. So it's like all those things and and I would say flexibility is our friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because I think we were a little bit like, let's do this, this, and this. And then we had to.
Yeah. No, and I think sometimes you have a vision and you think it's got to be a certain way. And you're like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It can be this way. You know what? There's beauty in like just like taking a deep breath and letting go. And I'm just such a planner. Sometimes I get rigid in my plans.
Yeah.
And that's a whole episode on my childhood, which we don't have time for. But
you crack me up.
That's just part of my personality. But I think too,
which cracks me up because you love pantsing.
I'm changing a little bit.
Okay.
I think
like,
because
wait a
I
minute.
didn't know what the hell I was doing. I would just sort of write a scene, but now I've been more outlining.
Okay.
But
okay.
Well,
I'm like, wait a minute.
I love having a plan, but sometimes I just have too many ideas coming my way that I don't
You are an idea girl.
As I look back though, I'm like, look at your spring and my spring. How did we did it.
We did it. We killed it.
So much going on.
We launched books.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So the thing is, listeners, you just might surprise yourself of what you're capable of.
Yeah.
We had so much
when you have
on.
specific goals and you're, you have a high desire for them. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
anything's possible.
Anything.
Yeah.
All right. So here's to the next 25.
Yes.
So, Angela, what's coming next on the podcast? What can listeners expect from us?
I believe July, I think we're going to do character study because we love characters.
Yeah.
And we love coming up with characters. I think we should integrate some, pop culture. We just talk about our favorite characters, villains, heroes, side characters. Without characters, there is no story. You can have all the plot you want. If you don't have a good character, it's nothing. So I'm excited for July. And then I'm hoping we're going to get some big guests on. I'm hoping Brian Cohen will come on and talk about Amazon ads. But he
has to.
Well, he has to. But also, he is so busy. I mean, it would be, I don't even know how this man sleeps because he's got so much, But, and I think we're going to talk about, I'm just excited to break down other things as they happen. We've had some friends that have done some incredible things during Kickstarter. So we're going to have a Kickstarter episode, a Selling Direct episode. We're just going to do some fun things, have another session of hot topics, maybe in the winter to heat things up. And
that's exciting. And then I would say I'm going to invite the listeners to tell us what their favorite moments were. And definitely let us know what kind of episodes you're looking forward to. Or types of topics you'd like us to touch base on. We're happy to entertain any and all. So please, submit either on our website or in the comments, wherever you're listening to the podcast. So with that, let's talk about some personal updates. So here it is, June 18th. And what's going on with you, Miss Angela?
I should get my next audiobook check-in any day now, but it's just waiting for the romance audiobook to come out. And I'm just still starting my newest book, which I think is going to be that holiday one we talked about, where it connects like two series. Stay tuned.
That's awesome. Especially when I'm like, okay, Angela, hear me out. Her face was like,
oh boy. Yeah.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Okay. For me, my audiobook is out, hopefully. ACX. I'm so excited. So book 1, and then hopefully in just a few more weeks, book 2, and a few more weeks, book 3. So it's going to be a domino effect. So I'm really excited about all of those. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
Let's hit it. Table topic.
This one's a hot one. Okay. Is public nudity beautiful or inappropriate?
Of course, you asked the artist. I think it's beautiful.
I think it depends on who's out there. Sorry. Have you seen
I should have been born in the Renaissance age with my chubbiness being considered sexy and wealthy.
We're Venus.
I think there's some anatomy that's more humorous to me than scary at this point in my life. I don't know. I think it's the science side of me. Mm-hmm. What our bodies do on a day-to-day basis, and how we move and how we think and how we operate, our metabolism. I think it's a miracle, and it's very beautiful. And I think that in a lot of living creatures. So to me,
if it's a nude beach of Chris Evans, then I'd say it's appropriate. I think it's beautiful.
I'm with you on that.
If I was out there, it'd be inappropriate. So that just depends on who's doing the nudity. So,
yeah. Agreed. All right.
Just leave that one. That's a good way to end. Oh boy.
So thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to give us a review, rating wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps us with visibility. Next week, we're talking with Ava Miles about hockey romance. So make sure and come and check that out. Till next week, keep writing, keep doing. Bye.
Thanks for joining today's episode of The Author Next Door. Be sure to like, follow, and tell us your thoughts of this week's episode. Angela and Cassie would love to hear from you.